Happy Tuesday. So, as war rages on, what are the other world leaders doing in response? In Britain, the guy with fish and chips on his head actually met with oil and gas industries yesterday to figure out his country's energy plan as it looks to move away from Russian gas. Now compare that to us, where the remedial class known as the Biden administration looks to teenage TikTokers to coordinate messaging on Russia's invasion of Ukraine and blame Putin for rising gas prices. Not surprising in a White House where the only adult thing are the diapers.
Why is gas so expensive, and why is the United States inflation rate at a 4-time decade high? I had the opportunity to ask the White House why gas down the street is $7, and here's what they said. Russia is one of the top 3 producers of oil, and it is actually their #1 revenue source. Now, with Putin starting this horrific fight between Ukraine and Russia, nobody wants to work with him and do an international trade. So with people being scared of war and limited resources, prices are bound to go up as well.
That was terrible. So that was one of the 30 influencers at a March Zoom meeting with White House officials and NSC staffers. And they definitely influenced me to throw up all over my lap. What's Joe going to do next? Hit up the half-naked soccer moms on OnlyFans for immigration tips? So while Ukrainians die and Americans raid their 401ks to buy groceries, our leaders are chatting up obnoxious brats about how to lie to the American people. But maybe that's the White House's emotional level. And rather than try to figure out a way to stop the next world war, they fret about rising gas prices, ruining their political chances. Because with libs, it only comes down to holding power. But this is also what happens when there are no adults in the room. Back in the day, serious people took serious things seriously. Last time I checked, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, JFK wasn't getting his military advice from the Mickey Mouse Club. What the hell did Annette Funicello know about war anyway? Now, we go to TikTok, which is used to gaslight the American people. But they're not even good at gaslighting, unless you're talking about Joe with a Bic lighter after a bowl of beans. Meanwhile, be careful if you dare question joining the war. Then you become a traitor. Here are the co-hosts of The View, otherwise known as the Five Stooges, suggesting the DOJ investigate Tucker Carlson and Tulsi Gabbard.
DOJ, in the same way that it is setting up a task force to investigate oligarchs, should look into people who are Russian propagandists and shilling for Putin.
They used to arrest people for doing stuff like this. If they thought you were colluding with a Russian agent, if they thought you were putting out information or taking information and handing over to Russia. Now, you know, there seems to be no bars, and people are not being told to hate Putin. Putin doesn't need a reason to be hated. It's pretty much clear.
Oh. It's like a break room in an inner circle of hell. They used to arrest people for stuff like this. What stuff do you mean? Like how bad your show is? Because that offense could be next. What an interesting view to hold if you have your head up your ass. But this modern McCarthyism is spreading like a Swalwell fart. Here's Claire McCaskill.
Tucker Carlson and others are really close to treason in terms of what they're saying and parroting what is Putin's dream.
Close to treason. How cowardly. Mitt Romney tweeted that Gabbard is guilty of spewing treasonous lies. Maybe Mitt can find Tulsi in his binders full of women if he looks under courage. We know Mitt's in our binder, filed under schmuck. So questioning military intervention is treasonous, even if you're a combat veteran like Tulsi. Disagree with her or not, you gotta admit she has more balls than a bucket of Titleists. So what happened to free thought? What happened to avoiding World War III? I guess it's easy to push war when you're here, far away from the mess. That's why I don't do it. It's a lot like all those TV hosts telling you to stay home indefinitely during COVID because they still got paid. They could do their show from home. This is no different. But since I'm not going anywhere, I'm sure as hell not going to tell you to go somewhere and die. Meanwhile, the president mulls whether he should fly to Europe after sending the town cackler in. He's probably worrying about those tricky stairs that he has to navigate to get up on Air Force One. It appears now he may be going to Europe next week. Next week. Great. What's the hurry? It's only women and children being slaughtered. Why not go tomorrow or today? What's the delay? You too busy choosing a flavor of ice cream for the ride over? Let's see what Joe's mulling.
Hey, come on. Look. Don't give me that McCarthyism stuff. That was a different time back then. Back then you had senators and congressmen calling people Reds. We don't do that. No, I get celebrities and social media people to do it for me. Yeah, but I'm going over there. I'm going to Brussels. I don't really like their sprouts. They don't agree with me. No, I don't like the way they smell either. I'd rather smell a nice shampooed head. Get ready, Angela.
Ready. It's weird. People are called traitors for mulling about not entering a war, yet others can casually mull over sending your kids to a foreign war, and yet they're patriotic. But if you want this war, then what's the next step? You okay with more dead, including Americans? These are questions the left used to ask. Google anything about Vietnam protesters. I mean, did we really run out of Afghanistan so we could run headfirst into war in Europe? I mean, at least give us a little in-between war palate cleanser, like a dish of sorbet or an invasion of Cuba. The number one goal should be to end this thing as fast as possible, which calls for some audacious diplomacy, not mulling it over, not sending Kamala, not indulging TikTok, which is owned by China. But we live in a time where it seems war is preferable to mediation, and if you don't go with the flow, you might be called a traitor. I'd call it McCarthyism, but I don't want to offend the Irish so close to the 17th. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He's like your favorite salad. Plenty of green and perfectly dressed. Host of Making Money on Fox Business Network, Charles Payne. Next year, when Kat turns 50, he'll still look 12. Host of The Guy Benson Show and Fox News contributor, Guy Benson. Next year, when Guy turns 12, she will still look 50. Okay. Fox News contributor, Kat Tim. Finally, bodyguard, wrestler, actor. There's nothing he can't do except fit into a Prius. My massive sidekick in the NWA's World Television Champion, Tyrus. Guy, thank you for getting the day off from the library. Coming down here. And when I gather your grandmother's in the audience.
Tropic of Cancer is overdue, by the way.
What?
You're on our list. Your
Yes.
copy is overdue.
By the way, overrated book, Tropic of Cancer. Henry Miller? There's only one good scene. It's no naked lunch, Guy. What? Sending Joe going to Europe. That going to help? What's going to help right now? What would you do if it was President Benson, which will never happen, because you know why. Anyway.
Is it because I was born in Saudi Arabia?
Yes, that's it!
Because that is true.
Yeah, no.
But I could be president. I'm not running. Don't worry, America.
Yeah.
I don't know what could help right now, and I think humility is probably a good thing for people in our position.
Right.
This is not an area of expertise on my part. It seems to me, as a total amateur who's, of course, very concerned about what's happening, very much on the side of Ukraine and not Russia, I feel like there has to be some potential opportunity for Putin to extricate himself from the mess that he has caused and the destruction that he's wreaking right now. And what worries me is, do we offer such concessions, we meaning sort of the freedom-loving West, such concessions that it rewards what he's done? That is one side of this, but you also need to give him potentially something where he can basically lie to his people and say, I've achieved this, and now finally the killing can stop. I just don't know what that balance looks like, but maybe that's the off-ramp here.
And the thing is, people will say, you cannot give him an off-ramp because then that's a reward. You can't give him too many off-ramps too early. But there's a thing about Russians, they are a status-seeking, face-saving culture. They need something to save face so he can go back. Maybe it's these territories, who knows?
But you can't give away the store, right?
Exactly.
And you don't want to be like, hey, you've achieved this, so we're giving you a lot. Look, it's brutal, and I'm not going to sit here on your show and pretend like I've got easy answers, because easy answers do not exist.
Well, I have the easy answers, and I can pretend. You, however, can't. But I'm glad you noticed that. Charles, it's great to see you. It's been a while.
Great to be here, yeah.
You look fantastic,
Thank you.
as always. Great suit.
Thank you very much.
That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm gonna
His
say.
suit game is strong.
Yeah, his suit game is strong.
Is way strong.
So are his glasses.
My first day here, I wore a suit.
Yeah.
And I got in the elevator, and there was pain. And by the time we got out the elevator, I threw my suit in the trash. If you can't, his.
But you got the belt, though.
I got the belt, yeah,
yeah.
but I don't have the. I mean, that's every day. That's not just for this.
Yeah,
he's church dressed 24/7.
You have a total commitment to who you are every day, whereas every day I wake up, I never know what's going to happen. But I'm Charles Payne. I'm going to wear a suit. Screw everybody. Charles, I have a question for you. I forgot what it was. I want to know what's in your head about this. Are you with Guy and you see kind of, it seems like there's no way out of this other than just it keeps going for a while?
Yeah, it's weird when people say we can't give Putin a victory because he's going to have some kind of a victory, it looks like, because the options that might have mitigated that. First of all, listen, we're all playing, to a degree, Guy, I commend you for trying not to right now. Just like we all became sort of scientists during COVID, we all become armchair generals, right?
Right.
When this type, listen, it's just so frustrating to hear the administration talk about things now that, it's inflation. You saw it coming since last May. And you wonder, well, if we saw this coming, why didn't they get the MiG-29?
Right.
Why didn't they get the armament? When you watched 190,000 troops line up the border, and so, it's just, and that's the infuriating part is like, maybe this could have been prevented and certainly it could have been mitigated. And now it's behind. And listen, Vladimir Putin is going to have a Pyrrhic victory, the bottom line. And so ultimately, George Washington was a great general because he knew how to retreat. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you have to reset. And I think, unfortunately, in spite of all the bravery we've seen from the Ukrainian people and Zelensky, they've got to find a way to reset and live again so they could fight another day.
That's such a good point. Pyrrhic victory is a win that comes amidst a greater future loss. Just wanted to make sure you understood that, being a young...
Because I'm a woman?
No, because you're so young. And speaking of young,
okay.
I'm looking at these TikTokers who are half your age.
Yes, because I'm old.
Yes. Does it bother you that they have a bigger hold on power than you do, that this TikToker is explaining gas policy to America, and you aren't?
No. I have no interest in explaining gas policy to anyone.
No.
I think I would probably do a better job than an 18-year-old, which is true for most things, not all.
Yes.
I guess that it's just frustrating that it seems that their focus even now is how do we not get blamed for the problem and not solving the tons and tons of actual problems that they should be working on instead. I think that this administration has been very image and politics focused over actual solutions, and that's a real big loss for all of us.
Nothing exists until there's a poll on it.
Right.
Once they get the polling, then crime's a problem. But if there's no poll, there's no crime. All right, Tyrus in your Red Fox shirt.
He's phenomenal.
Yes. Wrap it up for us.
He'd be calling Edith right now.
Wait, it wasn't Edith. Was it Edith?
Yeah, she kicked ass and took names. Esther was the one.
Yes, yes.
I am too young for this reference.
He had the best junkyard.
Yeah, he really did. And speaking of junkyard, great way to segue into this. I cannot be more concerned about our current future when the White House sat down in a meeting with supposedly the best and brightest minds of the Democratic Party and decided the best way to talk to America was through TikTok.
Yeah.
That goes back to I always talk about that polite racism that the progressives indulge in. This is a polite, you're too stupid to understand. So they think the average American is as smart as they need somebody on TikTok to read something that didn't even make sense.
Yes.
The guy's face when it was 4 times decade, Charles Payne is a great number man. He's a librarian. You know what I'm saying? And they couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
When you look at that for what it is, I am terrified of what is going to happen in the next few months based on this type of decision making.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.